Thanks for watching the Matthew Bronson Show. This week we are talking about upper limb loss. And today I am joined by Arlene, and you are a upper limb loss person. Most people who tune into the show are probably only familiar with lower limb loss. So I welcome the opportunity to be able to discuss this with you.
Thank you.
I guess just briefly, how did you become a member of that club, as I like to say?
I was 2 when I had a trauma, a roadside accident. My arm was cut off right during the accident, and that's how I joined the special club.
Okay. Now, I don't know if we didn't really speak about this, but I'll spur a question. Often with fingers or hands or whatever that are trauma, they'll reattach them. Is that ever an option that you know of with upper limb loss? Of reattaching it?
Yes, I think the option is available, but in my case, this happened out of town. My mother was alone. There was nobody we knew in the town that could have gathered the limb that was cut off to do that. But yes, the attachment option would have been possible if they were able to salvage the arm.
Okay. So we learned something there. There are different challenges with above knee, below knee, but with upper limb, it's usually divided into, it is divided into above elbow or below elbow. Functionally, does that really make a difference?
Functionally, yes, especially when you add to the mix use of a prosthetic, because what you can do with a prosthetic is much limited when you go above the elbow, because once you have the elbow function, there's a lot more you can concentrate on with the hand itself. It makes it easier, I would think, whereas above the elbow, you have to bear the weight of the entire prosthetic arm on the shoulder, wear a harness, and even trying to control your finger movements with your shoulder muscles becomes a little bit more difficult. So yes, functionally it does in the end make a huge difference on what you can accomplish with or without one or the other.
Makes sense. Now, especially having upper limb loss at a younger age, it obviously presented challenges to you in your life path. Can you talk a little bit about those challenges as you mature?
I would probably categorize my challenges into 3 main ones. First one was around image and appearance. As a girl growing up in a very traditional society, I grew up in India. There were issues that I had where I didn't feel like showing my arm because I knew people would stop me in the street and ask me questions about it. And I just sometimes was not in the mood to answer. So I went through a lot of social issues and emotional issues because of just the appearance factor.
So culturally, it's a much more, would you say, open society or just more invasive society?
Invasive, I would think.
Okay.
Not that open at all. And but in a way, all of that helped me to reach a stage where now I design my own clothes. I wear scarves and other things that match well with my dress. And I have the option of, even if when I'm not wearing a prosthetic limb, to not show as visibly if I don't want to. And I designed my own wedding dress, which had a special sleeve, which had a zip in it,
right,
that I could fit my prosthetic and take it out whenever I wanted to. So I have done a lot of those things which have helped me overcome, and I would love to share that with anyone else who may be in my situation. So that was the first main challenge that I went through. The second was around career choices. Again, growing up in a country like India, at the time there were very limited choices in terms of what I could or could not have done. Like, I wanted to become a doctor, and I knew that would be very, very difficult, even if marginally possible to accomplish going to medical school there. So limitation of career choices was the second challenge.
Not because of your academic ability, but just because the social mores would not allow.
That's right. And the physical limitation. I mean, I did take biology in high school, so I was able to dissect a frog and a cockroach, but it was difficult. And So
I wouldn't even dissect the worm in high school with both hands.
So when it comes to human, right, that would pose a challenge. So.
But in medicine, it's not always application medicine. It's research, it's teaching. So
when you're going to medical school, you have to pass those classes and be knowledgeable enough, even if you don't end up becoming a surgeon. So that's how it's restricted.
Yes.
And I know countries like US and a lot of other advanced countries have these provisions that are provided to people with limb loss or other kind of disability. So it's easier in other countries.
Okay.
And the third main challenge I would say as I grew into an adult, a married woman, was parenting. It kind of took me by a shock that I would have some of those same confidence-related issues as I had when I was growing up, because now there was another person, another life involved that was outside of me. So that was my third biggest challenge. I'm very glad that I was able to overcome and have been able to develop some neat parenting techniques and tools that I can help share with the others who might be my similar.
Well, to that end, have you taken anything that you've learned through your life path, especially with parenting, and written a book, one-handed parenting, or?
It's funny you should ask. I'm in the process of starting a blog. I'm in the process of writing short essays, and eventually that could become a book. One of the things that's dear to my heart is to start doing children's books. As my son is getting older, I go to his daycare, and there are other kids who ask, what is it? What happened to you?
Yes.
And I would love for them to have a little children's book, with a few lines and a lot of pictures that tell the story of who could be a person with limb loss. And that's something I would love to use for peers of other children who have experienced something like this, because I know while growing up, I would have loved for my friends to read something of this sort.
Yes.
So they could know who I am and how to deal with me.
Well, it's hardly politically incorrect, but I would think the kind of books you're talking about make a lot more sense than My Two Dads. So I hope you proceed with that.
Thank you.
What about etiquette? I had the opportunity to interview a spokesperson from United Spinal, which is the trade organization lobbying group for people in wheelchairs. And they have a wonderful pamphlet on wheelchair etiquette. And one of the things that I always remember, you don't use the person in a wheelchair as a coat rack, whether it's at a party or wherever. Is there certain etiquette in India versus America, or just in general, for the people who are going to be seeing this, if they happen to run across someone, figuratively, with upper limb loss? Like, we were taking a class the other day, and they had wrapped mitts, and I didn't know, well, should I ask you if I can wrap it for you, or, so could you speak to that a little bit?
I think if I were to give you a general answer for etiquette is, it's okay perhaps to watch what this person is doing, and if one feels that they need help, I think it's okay to ask. And I would say that I've gone through different phases in life where I did not want anybody's help, versus I wanted them to help me, but I didn't know how to. And especially if I'm wearing a prosthetic and I'm covered, they not think that if I ask for help, why is she asking for help? Because she seems normal. Why is she asking for help? So I went through different stages of help, and now I'm proud to say that I'm okay with anybody offering the help. And in fact, I think it's a good idea for people like us to graciously accept help. Sometimes even if we may not need it, and if you really don't need it, to say thank you for asking.
Because it's probably very ignorant and foolish on my part. You're somewhere over 20 years old, and you've been able to eat wrapped candy your whole life. Why should I assume that all of a sudden you need me to unwrap it?
And that's where I think the other question comes in. You may know that, but a stranger may not. And I think it's perfectly okay, perfectly normal for someone to offer help. And I think as we, on the receiving end, just need to be gracious and understand that the help being offered is not because it's a show of sympathy, it's just because the other person genuinely wants to help us. And we should mind giving them the opportunity, even when we can do something on our own.
we don't want to be an angry amputee.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because most people that you run across, you may be the first amputee they've ever seen.
That's right. And I also figure people have an ability to feel needed. They want to feel needed.
Yes.
And they want to be appreciated about if they've helped. Just helping someone just gives you that feeling of satisfaction that yes, I've done something good to someone, and I don't think we should take that away from anybody.
No. So we've talked about challenges, we've talked about career choices, we've talked about parenting. How about just going forward? Going through the rest of your life, do you have anything in your mind that you think about or worry about that going forward that is going to be a big challenge or something that troubles you?
Sure. And I'll make this a two-part answer. A challenge and a concern for me, which I would love to share with the others who may be watching, is if you have one good limb, whether it's an arm or a leg, and one that you have suffered some loss, make sure not to overuse the good one, because that may get you into some issues. I know people who have had knee replacement surgeries on their good knee because they were hopping on one knee. I myself have been experiencing some shoulder and arm issues because of overuse. So that's a warning I wish I would have known before, so I would not have gone overboard in using my good limb. And the second part to the question I would answer in terms of what I would like to do with who I have become is give back. That's one of the reasons how we met, have a peer visitor training. And I would just love the opportunity of the things that I've shared with you in terms of dealing with people, etiquettes, other social perception issues in terms of dressing up, parenting skills that I've been able to figure out. I would just love the opportunity to share that with the rest of the community and be able to help in any way I can. I'm also an artist. I paint, so I've started doing one of the children's book I'm working on. Started doing illustrations for that. And I would love for the art to be an ability to connect and perhaps provide more meaning to and understanding to the people, not just of our community, the Linvest community.
So you're the quintessential Renaissance woman. Is any of your artwork, you have a website or something?
I do.
Well, why don't we share that with people?
It's Harleen Gupt, my first name and last name, HarlenGupt.com, and that has my paintings and my vision of what I plan to accomplish using the art. So yeah, feel free to check it out.
Are you is there a particular medium that you specialize in?
No, I use anything that makes sense for the painting at the time.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and I know that everyone that sees this will be a better person than they were before. So again, thank you for joining us on the Matthew Bronson Show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Baby, get ready. I'm getting ready for Matthew Bronson.